LasVegasDiscount.net's the best there is. Save up to 50% on your next Vegas trip. And travel, rental, shows, and tours. Find the deals you're looking for. LasVegasDiscount.net. LasVegasDiscount.net. If you're going to Vegas for deals that are the best, visit LasVegasDiscount.net.
Are you a real estate agent, realtor, investor, or are you in the real estate business and you need new listings and deals? We have a solution for you, and that solution has guaranteed results. How much would you pay to get face-to-face with a homeowner that wants to sell their home? What if you also got their email address and daytime phone number? And what if this homeowner also scheduled you to come to their door at a set time to meet with you? Sound too good to be true? It isn't. And it is 100% guaranteed for you to meet face-to-face with a real homeowner who really needs to sell their home. Not only will you get this remarkable contact system and its 100% guarantee at no additional charge, you will get weekly coaching, documents, and training on how to get that homeowner and convert them into a new listing. When you purchase, you'll also get a one-on-one walkthrough so that you can start using the system today. Visit www.thelistingmonster.com. That's www.thelistingmonster.com. Or call Diana Ortiz at 213-706-0040. Stop wasting time the old way. Use a monster and get actual results today.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to your weekly coaching call. LeeHonish, David Bartels. We are here to help you with distressed properties. Yay! Go distressed. Rah, rah, distressed. All right. With all that said, David Bartels is the owner of Home Loan Advocates, the largest short sale negotiation company on the planet. David, can you tell them all more?
Good morning, everybody. Yeah, I'm David Bartels, Home Loan Advocates, and we specialize in distressed property consulting, and that includes short sale negotiations. Some might say that we're the largest short sale negotiation company in the world. We also are doing, we're coaching you and others on loan modifications and foreclosure avoidance, and maybe more importantly, helping you to secure listings or open transactions if you're an investor for distressed properties.
And there you go. This is a weekly coaching call. There is a simple format to this broadcast. David and I take the first part of this, turn it into a broadcast, put it out over multiple channels, including podcasts and replays on YouTube and Spotify and Spreaker and all sorts of fun technical stuff. It goes up on our coaching page in long format. And we also spend some private time with those coaching students who have taken the trouble of being on the call live each and every week. You can too. All you got to do is go to thelistingmonster.com and learn about distressed properties. Onward and upward. This week's article, David, posted by a coaching student. Is he even on the call? Who was it that posted this on the coaching call? Hold on, Pete Sanchez. So Pete Sanchez, and I lost the article. That's hilarious. So Pete Sanchez, Monster member, posted an article, he said, as he stalls, about Southern California home sales. Okay, so here's my stance, David. I have a new stance. Real estate has four phases of reality, okay? There's what's happening in the individual market. So you in the Conejo have a different story than me over here on the San Gabriel, Orange County border thing that I live on, as compared to San Diego, as compared to Orlando, as compared to New York, right? Individual markets are truly what's happening on the street, and that's the way real estate should work. From the next phase up from there, there is what the real estate agents believe. And then from there, it goes up to the media level. The media level puts whatever spin or take they're going to be on it. Everybody save your responses on fake news. I don't want to hear about it. nor do I want any emails on the topic. All news is fake. All news is fake, and all news is slanted. I don't know why everybody doesn't get that. It has an opinion behind the writing always. There's no such thing as this is just what the story is, because it would still have a slant on it. All right.
It's only fake when you don't agree with it.
Right. And then there's the fourth phase, and that's what the homeowner sees. And I think it's sort of this weird trickle-up theory that affects what the homeowners do at the top of the chain. The reason I bring that up is a story that just came out the other day, Whittier Daily News. It's making the rounds, Wall Street Journal, etc., etc. Southern California home sales fell in September by the biggest rate possible. Sales of existing single-family resident home fell 17.6% year over in five county Los Angeles metro areas, the biggest annual percentage drop since October 2010. So you went in and you listened to the California year in. It's obvious we wanted to bring, in California specifically, it'll affect people nationally, bring the interest rates up, bring the prices back down softly so that we have a more affordable market to maybe even combat what's happening with fraud. There seems to be the reason I bring up these stories, I get the vibe that there's some gentle steering trying to be done to avoid a bubble in the market.
Well, there's some steering. That's one of the, I don't know if the steering that the Fed is doing, I think is what you're talking about, has anything to do with housing as much as it has to do with slowing the economy down a little so we don't end up with a problem with inflation. It's obvious to people who are paying attention to it that rising interest rates is really having an impact on housing. I mean, it's really forcing a slowdown in housing to the extent that it's very possible that housing could have a headwind effect on the economy and actually be a negative indicator. So right now it's neutral. It's not contributing to the growth or decline of the economy, but the indications are if housing continues to slow down like we're seeing it slow down, it could very well end up being negative, and that could end up resulting in lower interest rates, but only time will tell. California, you mentioned the conference I was at a week or two ago where they did their annual forecast. They were forecasting rates going up to 5.2% or 5.25% in 2019. And then just last week, 30-year rates hit 5.1% already. Now they subsided slightly after that, but they're still over 5%. And that's a real big mental block for a lot of potential home buyers.
Which takes us to the other story that is still prevailing within the market at the media level, which is the mortgage fraud that is still occurring. Okay, so the interest rate goes up. It's harder for buyers to qualify now. And mortgage fraud is still a thing. People are still pointing at this report that CoreLogic put out almost a month ago, but it's still making around. CNBC is still pushing it. The Washington Post is still pushing it. And the fact that the mortgage fraud is raised by more than 12%. So it's 1 in every 109 mortgage applications is estimated to have indications of fraud. That's a substantial number, David.
Well, I think, I can understand why this is happening based on my own personal experiences. Because I'm in the middle of, my house is for sale and I'm getting ready to buy another property. I'm buying first a little condo that I'm going to live in temporarily, and then my almost wife and I are going to buy a house together, in 2019, the beginning of 2019. And I'm trying to qualify for a mortgage, and without getting into my assets, I'll just say that I have enough cash to pay for the condo that I want to buy. I have plenty of income, well above average income, and I have no debt except a mortgage on a $900-something thousand house. And because of the way that I take my income because I own more than 25% of a couple of companies, and I also take income from those properties. They are not counting any of the income from my property, from my companies, even though it's a W-2. And they graciously approved me to buy a $250,000 house with 10% down the other day, and I about fell off my chair. And keep in mind, I have mid 700 FICO score too, so I have plenty of income. I have no debt. I have plenty of cash in the bank, and I still only got approved for a $250,000 mortgage because of the way Fannie Mae writes the guidelines. And it's very easy to commit fraud. So the first thing I said was, so what you're saying then is if I disclaimed ownership of this stock, it's a privately held company. No one knows what my percentage of ownership is except by disclosure. And if I only either stated that I own 24% of the company instead of 25 or more percent, or I took that and I sold it and put it into a trust, which I also control, so now I can claim, then all of a sudden all this other income would be okay? And their answer is yes. And so that's just a simple example of how you could commit mortgage fraud, which is what you would categorize either one of those things as being, in order to get a mortgage. Now, obviously, I'm saying this out loud, and I'm not planning to do it that way, but it shows you the ridiculousness of some of the underwriting criteria. And my immediate question is, well, what happened to common sense underwriting? And so when people are put in that position, you can see that they might fudge the answers on a application in order to make the difference between getting approved and not approved. And you might even have some real estate agents or mortgage brokers telling the client how to do that and be complicit in the process.
I can tell you this firsthand, that after the last mortgage crash, the number one thing that I heard in the bank as people were submitting for short sales or coming to us for some kind of lenience was, I didn't know what I was being told to do. And I will say this to anybody who's listening, because I know this goes out and we get a lot of replays. Let me explain. When you fill out paperwork for your client, I don't care if you're a real estate agent or a mortgage broker, fraud is fraud. Just because you didn't understand it, that's still your name on the contract. Stupidity is not a claim that works well in court, or when you're talking about reclaiming a debt, especially with a bank. And I completely agree with you, David. What my fear is, so we just found a loophole to basically give a hairdresser with a good FICO a chance to buy $1 million home in Boise, Idaho again. That's basically what we're doing. I think people like you are few and far between who actually understand a debt to income ratio and what can and they cannot afford. What I'm fearful of, and the reason I use that example, I first started doing home construction lending, and we were giving $1 million home construction lending loans, no doc, I had a hairdresser who just had a good FICO score, who was building this ridiculous house that got out of control in either Colorado or Idaho. But it was a common story. We were so freely giving money away. So now we're not giving money freely away. Prices are overinflated. People are trying as hard as they can to qualify and buy these homes because millennials, which you don't qualify for, sadly, David, you are not a millennial. Although you're buying you're buying with the millennials and you're getting married like the millennials, but good for you. The reality is, I just think that there are a lot of ingredients that could make the market bad. And again, everybody keeps asking me, do I think there's going to be a crash? I don't think there's going to be a crash, but I certainly could see the default rate increasing 1% to 2%. And I can point at two things. Fraud is up 12%. We